move to our next mistake, not learning the process. Now, what I'm going to show you is a scenario that we experience almost every third day. Now, here's the email. I'm at a loss of what is happening. I've spent hours preparing. I know all the concepts, but I could only score 29 in verbal. I'm completely disappointed. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Can you please help? Now, this student took the GMAT. As he said, he got a 29 in
I want to just say one thing, Payal. So many of these students actually write to us, and I'm thankful that you write to us. Some of them would go and post on GMAT Club and say, hey, I took the e-GMAT course, I did all of this, I scored V29. How can this happen? So yeah.
Yes, that is a little frustrating, but that's okay, yes. So V29, critical reasoning 49, reading comprehension 51, SC 59, you can read the numbers. Or each of the three subsectional abilities less than 60 percentile, which means this student did not build a process in any of the three subsections.
Did not master a process, to be more specific, yes.
Yes, did not master the process. Now, was this really a surprise? Not really. When we took a look at his course dashboard, we saw similar thing. He's scoring well in the concept files. He's not scoring well in the application files, 40%, 60% in application file and practice file. And again, this is just a screenshot of a small course. Most of you over here are e-GMAT, are e-GMAT students. Just a small screenshot
So we
of
see
the
this
entire
pattern
course.
repeated in every application file, every practice
Yes.
file, or most application files and most practice files overall.
Within about 20 seconds of my taking a look at a course dashboard, I can tell whether a student is diligent or not. And what is my metric of that? If I see 100%, 90% scores in application files and practice files, that tells me that the student has spent the effort in making sure that he or she is getting each and every question right. Because these questions are not just randomly put together. We spend a lot of effort in making sure that we show you the right level of question at the right point in the course. When you see an application file in a subject verb block, that's going to have much easier questions than when you see an application file in a comparison block. Right? So there's a lot of thought that goes into creating these application files. Likewise, in a number properties course, an application file in an even odd block is going to be completely different, will have a completely different set of requirements than an application file in a block that's way underneath. So again, when you're spending the time, these are purposely built files. These are not just random files put together. Make sure that you are mastering each and every application file, each and every practice file. Okay.
So I want to ask you, so why do you think this guy went and took the GMAT? He got a V29 on the real GMAT. Why do you think, despite looking at this data, this guy took the test? Huh? Okay, hoping for luck. People are overly optimistic. Why else? That's, huh? Deadlines, yes, we see that. Why else? Mock test was good. Who said that? I think this guy should get a book. Yes. So what happens is, students do this. Students see this data. They go take GMAT prep mock. They go take Manhattan mocks, and they do well. Now, it's not a problem of the mock that they did well. Why did they do well on the mock? Where's repeated questions, seen questions? Yes. Why? Because these students somehow are also practicing on GMAT Club, and where it's super easy to get access to all the Manhattan questions.
How many of you are?
How many of you practice on GMAT Club? And it's super easy to get, I mean, all you need to do is click on a tag, you get access to all the questions. You actually have, and they've done an excellent job of tagging those questions. But the problem really is, you see this data, you don't believe it. Why? Because you take a mock test, you do well over there. But when you go to the actual GMAT, you see the real performance over there. And essentially, for the same guy, when we look at his Colorinium reports, we see the same scores. But why is it that this person doesn't trust Colorinium data? Why? Because, hey, GMAT prep mock, I did really well. I'm optimistic. I did well on the mock. I'm going to go take the exam. Has anyone over here done this? Or I'm sure a few of you probably
Does this resonate with?
Yes, yes. See, a few of you do this. And yeah, but Payal actually doesn't see as many of these emails as I do, and I don't see as many as Aditi does, or a few other folks do. But I think we just pull our hairs when this happens. when this happens overall.
And I think the most interesting thing is everyone who writes to us, or most of people who write to us, they say, mine is a very specific situation. And I know I've spoken to a couple of you here, mine is a very personal situation. And really, because we've handled so many customers, 40,000 customers, we know, there isn't that much randomness in world, right? There's always, there's always structure that comes out. There's certain common things that come out. And that too in a logical test like GMAT, there's just a lot of commonality. So yeah, let's move on. So basically, again, actually, let me talk about this. There's one more reason why why a student does not trust the data that comes from application files. Because they're able to do so well in the concepts, they feel that, okay, I'm scoring really well in the concepts. So I'm learning the concepts, so I should be able to score well on the test as well. So that's another reason why they don't trust.
Why is it that we love learning concepts? Yeah, you're used to the education system. You learn the thing, you say the same thing in a test, you do really well. Yes, on a typical test, that's what it happens. Your school test, they tested you on concepts, not the GMAT.
And I'll ask you one question. How many times have you heard a teacher introduce a chapter or a lesson saying, today we are going to learn A, B, C concept? How many times have you heard that? In your schooling, raise your hands. I should have seen all of you raise your hands, right? How many times have you heard, today we are going to learn how to apply these concepts? Not a whole lot, right? And that's the whole reason. GMAT is a test of application. Till the time you don't master the process, you won't be able to do well on the GMAT. You can know about all the grammar rules, you can know about all the formulas in quant, but you really need to know how do you put that all together, okay?
I'll tell you one other thing. Let's say you're practicing from Scholaranium, and we'll focus more on sentence correction here because it has the most number of concepts. Even if you have a cheat sheet of all the concepts with you, and you're able to apply that and solve questions.
Open book test, right?
Oh, it's like it's exactly an open book test. If you do that, if you do well, what you're going to find is after 20 questions, you don't even need that cheat sheet. That's a challenge.
I think we should do that. We should do a session like that.
Anyone from an IIT over here? Okay, we have a few folks. When we have open book tests, does the book help?
I used to dread those full length open book tests.
Does the book help? No, it doesn't. You really, it's just for name's sake, you're absolutely right. If you don't know how to apply something, we used to have open book tests. You would get the question, you would have time till 6 a.m. the following morning to come up with an algorithm. No. If you didn't know how the algorithms, or the basics of algorithms worked, you could have all of Notes algorithms and nothing would help you.
All right, now there's one more reason why people don't focus on learning the process, and that is that if I apply the process, I am going to take a lot longer to solve the question, and GMAT being a time test, I don't have that luxury of time. Show of hands, how many of you believe in this statement?
Be honest, man.
Be honest. I should be seeing everyone raising their hands. Because
many of you.
Many of you. This is absolutely the wrong approach. You need to follow the process in order for you to be able to solve questions. I've spoken to a number of you in all my sessions. I have this one very standard statement. Timing is an outcome. Don't make it an input into the whole process, okay? And I know I keep repeating myself because I see that students keep making that mistake, and it really hurts us. Okay? Let the process sink in your head. And it may sound very philosophical, but believe me, if you have learned, actually at this point in time, let's talk, I'm going off script a little bit. What? Okay. Let's talk about a skill that you have built, not GMAT related. And I'm going to talk about a skill that I am right now building for myself. I'm learning Hindustani classical music, vocal. My teacher keeps telling me, Payal, every day you need to practice how to sing alankars. And she's also, along the side, she's also teaching me all these new ragas. And I really love those rags. So what I end up doing is I end up practicing only those rags. Now, have I progressed? A little bit, yes, I have progressed. But am I there where I should be, where my teacher expects me to be? No, I'm not. Why is that? Because I'm not focusing on the basic, on the building block of singing, which is practicing those alankars.
Now, Payal, since you went off script, I'm gonna go more off script. So, our 11-year-old daughter is ahead of her.
Yes.
Just because of that.
Oh, so you're not that off script. You're along the same lines.
Yes, yes.
So I'm learning with my daughter. My daughter is way ahead of me. Now, why is my daughter ahead of me? Because she practices those alankars. She spends that time that I'm not spending. Now, yes, I keep telling myself, I'm a working professional, I'm a mommy, I don't have the time, but that's not an excuse. If I want to learn something, I need to learn that the right way. And it's my promise to myself that once I get back to my regular life, I am going to put in the effort. So all of you, promise to yourself that you are going to put in the effort to learn the process and give it due time.
I'm going to just say one other thing. I mean, you might hear this if you're reading stuff on forums. Some experts may say, follow a process that can allow you to answer questions in the required amount of time. I would say, please ignore that. For the very simple reason, when you're learning something new, you're always going to take longer.
Let's take up this quote now, right?
Yes, yes.
Let's read this quote. Only after building sufficient ability, that is skill, it is meaningful to worry about speed. So while I was learning, I never timed myself. For many questions, I would take more than 7 minutes to mark an answer, and I would be making notes as well. This is an actual student who's improved, who's gotten a 750, I believe.
We'll see.
Yeah, 740. After finishing all the lessons, I began taking custom tests in an application called Scholaranium, and while taking these sample tests, I brought down the time it takes to solve CR questions from 3.5 minutes to around 2 minutes. So what did the student do? The student first focused on getting his mind geared enough to solve the question. He didn't worry about the time. Timing is an outcome. That's what you see over here. Once he knew, once the process was second nature to him, that's when he started to solve questions in the right manner, so that's when the time to answer questions came down from 3.5 to 2.5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes, okay. All right, yeah, I think we are there.
Yes.
All right. So spend the effort in internalizing the process. As a best practice, when you're starting a new section, make sure that you start it on a weekend so that you can spend that dedicated amount of time to learn that new process. Obviously, it's not just going to take you 6 to 10 hours to learn a new process, but at least you are getting primed up. You're getting to know the ropes of the whole thing.